Claas Mega is alive again, and Millstone Farm is finally ready for its first real day's work. 3 fields of wheat, 1 field of barley, and an old farm that desperately needs the income. Today we start the harvest, the first proper step in bringing Millstone back to life. This is a moment I've been looking forward to. Finally getting onto these fields, finally getting the proper harvest done on Millstone. I am so pleased about the state of our field. Well, the weather has held off. We've had a nice sunny start to the day and things have dried out since the morning dew. The combine started up nicely, and I've got a hired help to come in and do this. Uncle Ed suggested a local combine driver named Dave, who's come in and is driving the combine for me while I take the field in the 8340. We did have one little hiccup though, and you can see on the back I'm pulling a Claas trailer. Huge thanks to Mick, who stepped in at the last moment. We went to tip our first load off this field and there was nothing from the Massey trailer. It just would not tip at all. We eventually managed to get all of the grain out of it, but it became very obvious very quickly that the hydraulics have gone on that trailer, and so Mick has lent us a Claas trailer until we can get the Massey fixed. So I'm gonna be carting probably for this year's harvest in this, which is quite nice to go along with our combine here. And Dave is finishing off the 3rd headland of 3. And we're going to try, and I'm going to try, because I haven't done this in years, I'm going to try and keep in a good position to cart with this. Now, I'm going to be putting all of my grain from this harvest into the grain store that we've got on the farm. We are in a position where the best price for it, we won't get until the winter, I don't think. I've been ringing around the various places where Uncle Ed previously sold his crops to, and yeah, most of them are not in position at the moment to take it. I think I found somewhere who is interested, but they're not looking to take it for a few months. So we will store it in our grain store. We will keep it nice and dry in there for a while, and we'll go from that. I don't know. I'm guessing he must be empty. Looking in the trailer, we're fairly full, and he's going to want to cut in after this. So we'll see if he wants to empty. Nope, he doesn't. Maybe we can get a bit off this section here. This should give us a pretty full trailer. There we go. So Dave's going to cut into the fields now, and I'm going to go and tip this in our grain store. We can hold quite a bit in this grain store. It's been around on the farm for quite a few years. I think that Ed refurbished the insides of it a few years ago, even if the outside looks a little bit on the older side. They are some very, very large bins that we have here. And you can see, yeah, goes up to the top there. Might see if I can take you up there and show you the view from there. at some point. Back on the field, and he's trimming down this side here fairly effectively. The combine is not full yet though, so I've got a few minutes. And really, I want to talk about what we're going to be doing with this field. So we've got a good amount of straw down here. This is going to be used for cow bedding in the next few months. I think he wants me out of the way. And yeah, we're going to be going around with our Claas baler, getting all of this baled up. Get all of those bales stored for later. I think we're not going to use everything that we've got on the farm. We'll bale everything up, and we will try and make a bit of money from the straw. I just kick around in here a little bit. Yeah, doesn't look like we've got a lot of grain coming out of the back of the combine. So the combine seems to be calibrated pretty well in its threshing, or the threshing parts of it. It's not letting too much through, and it will, well, from what I saw with what we tipped into the grain store, we were fairly good as far as not really getting any of the rubbish in. So the combine itself seems to be working pretty well here. I had a call from Dave over the CB. He wants me to empty on this row because he's going to come back down the end here, empty or cut that, and then he's going to be cutting into the field. So we will empty the combine out along this row here, and then he'll be able to cut in without fear of the combine filling up in the middle of the field. We kind of want to avoid that. It makes it very tricky. And if we can keep the combine moving today, we can get through this field and get on to the next one. The yields I don't think are fantastic, but to be honest, they're better than nothing with the farm in the condition it is. And, you know, it gives me a baseline to work from. We can get money in, we can get the farm rolling, and with any luck, it'll help pay for improvements over the winter. The problem with the Massey trailer has got me thinking, do I patch it up, or do I see if I can find something secondhand that's going to last us longer? I mean, this Claas Carat is great, but there might be some other options. So I think we'll speak to Mick and see what he can find. That Claas trailer, or the Massey trailer, we knew like so much on this farm. It's not in great condition, and it might just be worth cutting our losses and getting something new. Combine, that's working fine. This tractor, that's working fine. And yeah, we've got to get a new seeder. We've got our eyes out for one at the moment. We really need that in the next couple of months. Once we've cleared these fields out, we should be able to then get a decent amount, a decent seeder for around here. But are we going to have to buy a trailer as well? I think it might just be worth it. Trailer is full again just before the end of the row. The yield is not too bad. I was expecting it to be worse than this, but we seem to be fairly weed free on here. We seem to be fairly well grown on the crops. Uncle Ed, I think, has managed to do a better job on these fields than even he was expecting. And if we continue to pull lots of trailers off like this, we're going to be in a very strong position going into the end of the year. Maybe that trailer is a possibility. So it seems to be about 2.5 rows that fill the tank on the combine, so I'm picking it up every 2 rows really, and that has given us a healthy amount in here. I'm kind of glad. This is doing, as I said, a little bit better than I'd expected. I want to check that the combine is still doing fairly well. Now, brush underneath here, and yeah, I'm not seeing any grains left on the ground, or many grains on the ground. There's always a few that make it through the thresher, but it's quite a low amount. Only the odd one or two, so that's good. I'm very, very pleased with how the combine's working. Well worth putting the money out to get that repaired and replace all the belts on it and get it to be a fully working piece of kit. We're going to wait for the combine to come back down this end though before I empty it again, and we should have another nice full trailer on the return journey. Combine is back down at this end. His lights aren't flashing, so he's not quite full, but I am expecting that we should end up getting a full trailer off this row. Best to keep that combine empty and moving as much as possible. If we can keep things flowing, then we're going to be getting through these fields at a good pace. I'm worried about the weather turning later in the week, which is always a possibility, and getting these fields out as quickly as possible would be very advantageous to us. This combine is going strong. It's going very strong. Definitely worth keeping it around. I am pleased with how well it's working, and it looks like our trailer is full, so back to the shed to tip another one. I think that's our 3rd trailer full off this field. This is going well. This is surprisingly better than I thought it was going to be. So I've checked how much we've tipped so far, and we've got nearly 52,000 litres of wheat off this field. And I think we're probably only about 1/3 of the way through it. That is a much better position than I had expected. I very much thought that we were going to only get maybe 100,000 litres off this field. It looks like it's going to be a much stronger finish than that. It looks like my timings were out slightly. The lights have come on the combine. He's ready to empty before the end of this row. My only hope is that he is gonna make it. In fact, no, I think we're gonna have to empty on this row on the way back, because otherwise he's not gonna make his next cut-in. I'm going to empty the combine as it reaches the end of this row again. That should give it enough space to continue on through the rest of the field. And we are doing well. I'm very pleased with how our harvest has begun here on Millstone Farm. And much of the rest of today is going to be more of the same. This is a good start, and I couldn't be happier with the way our fields are going. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and drop us a comment. A huge thank you to all my patrons and channel members whose names are on screen now. Your support makes these videos possible. For more from Virtual Farmer, check out the recommended video below, or subscribe and help us on the road to 50,000 subscribers. And I will see you next time.